Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. It's nice and cloudy. Looks like we've gotten a lot of nice rain that we've needed. And so we have a really special show for you today. Many of you know who I am, but again, I'm Miriam Campos, and really excited to connect you with somebody new to Oklahoma. I really appreciate her taking the time today to get to know all of you. So I hope you are watching and you have your questions ready, or just to welcome our special guest today. And I'm just going to jump right in. So I want to introduce Ms. Alejandra Briones. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? I hope everyone's doing well. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, trying to stay dry. So today we want to welcome you, first of all, to Oklahoma City. We're very, friendly, so we wanted to take some time to get to know you, and tell us a little about yourself and, coming to Oklahoma, what that was like, and then currently your new roles. So I'd like for you to just tell us a little bit about you and where you grew up and where are you from?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm really excited to be here. So thank you for the very warm welcome. I am from Texas. I grew up in Texas, lived my whole life in Texas. So this is my first time actually leaving the state of Texas.
Oh, wow.
I was born in El Paso. My parents are both from Mexico, the area of Ciudad Juarez. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's a border town with El Paso, Texas. But I grew up in the Dallas area. So I lived in Garland, and that's where I went to school there, graduated high school there. I went to college. I went to the University of North Texas in Denton. And then after that, I got my major in radio, TV, film, and got my first job in Abilene, Texas, middle of nowhere. And after that, moved over to El Paso, Texas, and now I'm here.
Well, that's a big move.
Yeah.
We're leaving Texas, and I think there's a lot of people in the group that are from Ciudad Juarez. So, saludos to
Yeah.
watching. Looks like you got a lot of fans. They're saying hello, welcome to Oklahoma City. So happy to have you here. So that's
And I'm so sad I can't see people's names. It just says Facebook user on the
yeah.
side. So,
If you are watching, if you let us on StreamYard, if you allow access, we can see your name, but otherwise we can go back after this and see who left those messages. So
oh,
we'll,
okay.
we'll just guess for now.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and this is kind of unique, guys, because this is the first time we're interviewing Alejandra. Usually it's her interviewing us. So this is a special time for us. How does it feel?
It's a little nerve-wracking, actually. I was telling Miriam right before we came on, I'm not used to being interviewed, so I was a little nervous, but it'll be fun. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
she's a professional. Uh, so I wanted to ask you, what led you into going into your journalism career?
Okay, well, aside from the fact that I like to talk a lot, just ask my husband. He always tells me that I need to be quiet, and I'm really nosy too, so that helps. But ever since I was little, when my parents used to watch the news, I remember thinking, oh, that's really cool. I think I could do that. And it was just something that was in my head. But as I grew up, there was always things where I was like, I want to do this, I want to do that. I hadn't really decided what I wanted to do. So when I was in college, I went to community college first, and I took several classes there, just because I still wasn't sure which path I wanted to take. And after a few years, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I said I always wanted to do, was to go into journalism, to broadcast news. And that's when I got into the program at UNT. And as soon as I started taking those classes there, I loved it. It was hard. It's definitely a hard profession, I would say. It's not for everyone, but I loved it so much, and I'm kind of upset that it took me so long to go that route when I knew that's what I wanted the whole time.
So speaking of your journalism career, I find it really interesting just to learn about different stories as you're going through that journey. But tell us about your role at KOCO.
Okay, so I am an anchor reporter. So basically, in the mornings, if you ever watch, I know it's really early, but we're on from 4:30 to 7, and then 9 to 10. So I do right now the alert desk, which is basically monitoring news overnight. So that way, when people start their mornings, it's more of like, hey guys, while you were asleep, these are some of the big stories that you may have missed while you were asleep. You know, we've got you covered. A little bit more on the national side, because the rest of the newscasts are reporters, and then Maggie and Jason, they do a lot of the local stuff. And so I kind of cover more on what's happening on a national and global aspect. And then I also fill in on the anchor desk. So let's say, for example, Maggie's off. So I'll fill in for her. And then I also report, so I still get the opportunity to set up interviews and write stories and then turn those as stories for later in the day.
Well, we love seeing a Latina on KOCO, so we appreciate all the work you're doing there, representing. And so I'm kind of interested in learning a little bit more about, what has been maybe like the most impactful experience so far, whether at KOCO or in your journey to journalism, as covering stories. What has been the most impactful story so far that you've had to deal with or cover?
Well, I would say that while I was in El Paso, I have most of my impactful stories from there. I did work there for 4 years, so I did a lot. And a lot of the stories that I worked on that were related to like immigration were very impactful for me. They made a big impact on me when we were talking about the tent centers that they had, where they were housing children. I actually got to tour that facility, which was an experience for sure. I remember I left there and called my mom and was just like, Mom, like this, it was the facility itself. I will say it wasn't like in bad condition or anything like that. It was just really, really sad to see all these children. And you kind of have to find a way to separate the way that you feel about it. When you're reporting on the story, because I'm just there to tell you like the facts. I'm not there to tell you what I thought. So stories like that. I also did a lot of stories where I was out with Border Patrol and we would meet up with people who were crossing illegally, and they would give me an opportunity to speak with these migrants who would tell me their stories about why they were leaving their countries and why they were risking crossing the border illegally, speaking with asylum seekers, with moms with little kids, and hearing their stories as well. So I think those stories are the ones that definitely had major impacts on me. And then aside from that, the El Paso Walmart shooting, which was just about a year ago, that was also a big story.
You covered that one as well?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. I can just imagine like all the emotions, and you just have so much going on along with reporting the facts.
Yeah, that day was definitely an adrenaline-filled day. I don't think that we even had time to process what was happening. It was just go, go, go. And then it wasn't until, the end of the night when I got home where like everything kind of hits you.
Wow. Yeah, I can imagine. And, you bring up a really good point of having to separate, what your thoughts are. I mean, certainly you're bringing attention to so many important topics and issues, but, having to separate your beliefs versus what is just the facts is probably really intense and difficult to navigate as you're, going day to day, so many things happening. But we appreciate all that work. Definitely stories that need to be heard.
Yeah.
So I commend you.
Yeah, and we're all human. Everybody knows, of course, the reporters and anchors, we're all going to feel something, but you just kind of have to find that line.
Right. Well, speaking of those different journeys that you've had to have, as a Latina, what are some of those maybe challenges or advantages that maybe you have experienced in your career? Any opportunities that maybe you have taken advantage of or that have been challenges along your way?
Yeah, so I would have to say that luckily, I don't think that I have experienced any disadvantages. If anything, I think that being a Hispanic or a Latina or speaking Spanish has worked to my advantage. Because my first job actually was a bilingual position. So I did work for an NBC affiliate and a Telemundo affiliate. And I don't think that I would have obviously I wouldn't have gotten that job if I didn't speak Spanish. And when I started my job search after college, it was difficult finding places that were hiring, and it's just kind of hard to get your foot in the door, especially in this industry. And you have to start really small, go to a really small station, really small city, and I was getting a little discouraged because it took me a few months, but when they reached out to me and they were like, hey, this position, you would be doing some reporting in Spanish. Even though my Spanish, I would say, is not 100%, I took it because I knew that I had to take advantage of that. And so I think that that's actually worked in my advantage. And then the same when I went to El Paso, there, predominantly Hispanic community out there. So I fit right in. And then and then I think coming here, I think that I have something different to offer. Not everybody at the station speaks Spanish. Not everybody who's on air can say that they can communicate, with someone who can only speak Spanish or can relate to those issues. And so that's why I think that it's worked to my advantage for sure.
Well, we definitely love hearing that because, we know that there's not enough people of color or Latinos on TV, especially English speaking channels. So that's great to hear for anybody who's looking into maybe getting into the career of broadcast and journalism. So what advice would you give to women and people of color in general to advance their career in journalism?
I would say don't give up. Don't take no for an answer. I wouldn't even look at it as thinking, okay, well, I'm a woman of color, I'm a Latina, or, they might not be interested in me. If anything, I think that you should just be more confident and be like, yes, I'm a Latina. Yes, I'm Hispanic. Yes, I speak Spanish and I can do everything, and go in with that confidence, because I don't think that I personally just don't think that there's any time. Life is too short to sell yourself short because you think that somebody might not accept you for the way that you look. I think, just keep pushing. And like I said, don't take no for an answer. I think it works to our advantage.
I love that. So if you guys are hearing, don't take no for an answer. I think that's definitely key for many people. You may have to work harder to get those doors to open, but you're a perfect example of the fact that it can be done. And now we have people that can lift each other up and help us along the way. It looks like somebody commented to that point. South Oklahoma City, the community is predominantly Hispanic. Latinx representation is very much appreciated. So I think it's something that we in Oklahoma appreciate, seeing somebody who does maybe speak Spanish. I think for me, even just seeing that when I first met you, I was like, that's awesome. Really exciting for us to just have that connection. I think, you may have a different perspective on covering certain stories that maybe have a little bit more of a connection to the community, healthcare, education, not just only immigration, but of course that's a huge topic right now, but it definitely opens up the doors to be represented. So I think everyone else is seeing that as well. And again, they're welcoming you to Oklahoma. So as we're talking about, the different roles and projects, so tell us about any projects you have going on or anything that you have coming up with your role currently, or what you have in store for us.
Yeah, so that comment actually that you pulled up, the one that says our South OKC community, it's interesting that, that I'm sorry, I don't know who brought this up, but we are actually working on a special right now that focuses on, I guess, racial injustices, or just kind of focuses on that. And so I'm going to be talking about the Latinx Hispanic community. And after speaking with several people in positions of leadership, I've been told about South OKC and how, the struggles that they face, just because of the community that they are, and how these issues need to be addressed, and how these people need to know that they deserve better. So we're working on that. I'm really excited. So if anyone knows anyone who may be willing to talk about any type of racial injustices as a Hispanic person, a Latina, Latino, Latinx, let me know, because we want to hear from everyday people. We want to hear what your issues are, and any problems that you've ever faced, or if you've ever felt like you were discriminated against, or if you feel there's discrimination because of the part of town that you live in. We want to hear from those people, and we want to ask our leaders, why is this happening? So we're working on that right now. I'm really excited. Trying to gather up some interviews. I don't know when it's going to air yet, because we just started working on it the other day. So that's a pretty big project that I'm excited to be a part of.
Well, you're in the right group, because there's plenty of people in this group who come from different backgrounds, who represent different professions, different communities. A lot of us are from South Oklahoma City, but I think more than anything, a lot of the Young Latino Professionals group are connected to the communities they work in, whether it's in nonprofit, education, some attorneys. So they're getting to see the issues every day. So really excited to see what that looks like. And I think that is also another reason why we wanted to connect you with many of these individuals, so that, we can learn about what's going on in your world, and they just all connect in some way. It looks like there's somebody asking a question. Do you think there's a possibility to do a special regarding the growing percentage of positive cases of COVID-19 cases in the Latino community? Great question.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely something we could do. Actually, I was looking at the reports from the state the other day, kind of just because they break it down a little bit. And I know that there's been reports of how COVID has affected people of color more than other demographics, especially in the Black community, and then Latinos after that. There was even a report about how the majority of pregnant women who have gotten COVID-19 were Latina women, which was interesting. So I looked at the report recently, and it looks like the Hispanic Latino community cases are significantly lower than other demographics in the state, but it's definitely up there. So I can definitely take a look at those and see what we can do, and talk to some health experts about that.
That would be great. I think it's certainly something that keeps people up at night, knowing what's going on with COVID. And, many of these groups don't have health insurance. And I think that's what's probably the most meaningful, because some of these communities are not aware of what to do if it were to hit home. And then many live with quite a few family members. So
the multi-generational families.
Yeah. So again, just another great question there, guys. Here's another one. Thank you, Alejandra. So, and so speaking of, this situation, this pandemic has definitely changed the way we do things. It's changed life. So how are you keeping up with this? When you're not working, what are some things you're doing to help with that stress relief of all this going on day to day?
Yeah, so when we first moved to Oklahoma, it was in March, or it was at the end of February, like right into March, and that's when everything shut down. And so I remember thinking, we just moved here and now we just have to sit at home. We can't even go out to explore the city or, get to know our new location. But I've been out a little bit here and there, still basically staying home every day, which is okay for me because naturally I am a homebody. I do enjoy being at home and lounging on the couch and watching Netflix and watching Hulu, streaming movies, and so that's what I've been doing. I can tell you I've watched basically everything that I've wanted to see on Netflix already. So yeah, also I do enjoy reading. So whenever I find a good book, I really look forward to spending hours reading like books. If it's one of those where you just can't put it down, I'll stay up late. So that's also a stress reliever for me because it really helps me disconnect and kind of get away from the real world and just focus on something else.
Okay, so since you brought it up, what are you watching on Netflix? What's your favorite one so far?
Well, I love The Office, so I watch that every day without fail. Parks and Rec. Those are just the classics that I watch over and over. Something new that I've seen on Netflix that I liked, Down to Earth with Zac Efron.
Yes.
So that one was really interesting.
I really love that one. It definitely gave me a whole nother perspective about water.
Yeah, me too. And I feel bad because I'm drinking purified water in a plastic bottle right now, but I have them, so I have to drink them.
Yeah, and I feel like now I read everything on the bottle. So if you haven't watched it, go check it out on Netflix.
Gonna change your perspective, hopefully, which is good. I also started watching the street food Latin America.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah, and it's pretty good, right? I've seen the first 3 episodes, which is Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico. And it just makes you hungry. Don't watch it when you're hungry.
Yeah, and I think it kind of helps you see a whole nother side of food. It all comes with the story, and it's similar to your role as a journalist, getting to tell the stories. I think that's the part that I like. I love food, but it connects you to the culture as well. So yeah, those are great. Now, real quick, what is that your most recent book that you have read?
I read a book called, actually I have it over there. It's called Then She Was Gone, by an author named Lisa Jewell. It's kind of like a murder, like kidnapping mystery. Yeah.
Well, we have a few book fans in the group as well. I think, there was a book club started at some point, so we'll have to invite you to some of those.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everybody has good recommendations because I don't have anything right now. So I'm looking for something new.
Yeah. Send us a comment if you guys have any books. I do want to ask, we got a question about another idea for, stories, and it has to do with Latinos voting in upcoming elections. And then this one going along with it, that how are you helping with voter turnout, or if that's something you're interested in getting involved with?
Yeah, so I know that the election is coming up real quick, and it's very, very important to get the Latino community involved in this. So I am interested in trying to push that. So if you have any ideas, send them my way. But it's definitely crunch time when it comes to that, and we got to get people registered. We got to let them know that it's important for them to go out and vote, because I know a lot of people think, oh, well, it doesn't even matter what's one vote. So definitely it's time to start spreading that message.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me see. I think we got all those questions. Okay. So leading into back to Oklahoma City, I know we've covered a couple different things, but what are your hopes for Oklahoma City? I know you're newer to Oklahoma, but I'm sure you've seen some of the differences or maybe similarities to where you grew up or where you're from. But I'd love to hear what are your hopes in your role or in just being in Oklahoma for Oklahoma City? What do you hope to see?
Like what do I hope to see as far as the city, or as like my life here?
I think your life, and also maybe two parts to that, I guess, is you yourself. What would you hope to see in general in the city? But yeah, what do you think with your journey of being a journalist, what that would look like?
Yeah. As I mentioned, I am from Texas, and I'm very happy that I'm finally a little bit closer to my family, just 3 hours down the road. But honestly, I can tell you that I came here with no intentions of leaving quickly, because I know in this industry, you see people come and go every 2 or 3 years, and just when you get to like somebody, when you get to like a reporter or an anchor, and then it's like, okay, well, now they're moving on, and they say moving on to bigger and better. But my husband and I, we're not really into wanting to move again. We're really we're looking for somewhere where we can settle down and and begin our lives. So um, I'm not going to swear on it, but I can tell you that we don't have any intentions of me finishing out a contract and leaving soon. We want to get integrated in the community, and I want to be a part of the community. I want to get involved. So as soon as things get a little bit more normal, I really want to be able to do a lot more here than I've done in any other city that I've lived in before. I want to do volunteers. I would love to be a mentor to someone, be a part of the Big Brothers Big Sisters, because I want to set some roots here. And so that's really what I'm hoping will come from starting a life here in OKC.
Well, that's great to hear, because you're right. We definitely do get excited about meeting certain people from this area or that area, and then we're like, oh no, they're leaving, and
Yeah.
so it is a little bit heartbreaking when we have to say goodbye. But we understand the profession, so we're excited to hear that. I know there's probably going to be a lot of excitement with you saying you wanted to help with mentorships.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of teachers in the group that do career events. There's also some nonprofits in the group as well. So I'm excited to hear about those volunteer opportunities. Send them our way, guys.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I know things are different right now, and especially for the teachers going back to school, and everything's just going to look really different. But as soon as we're given the okay and everything is safe, I'm ready.
Well, I think we're already getting invitations for you to go get some Mexican food. So they want to take some delicious Mexican food to you guys at KOCO. So you just let them know when.
Oh, yeah, we would love that. I love Mexican food. I've recently, I haven't found a great place for Mexican food here yet. And, of course, we all know there's nothing like home cooking. But send me your favorite restaurant recommendations. These past 2 weekends, I've decided, okay, on the weekends, I'm going to take the time to cook some Mexican food because I have more time on the weekends. I don't have to work. So this past weekend, I made enchiladas. The weekend before, I made pozole.
Wow.
So that's kind of a stress reliever too.
Yeah. Enchilada rojas or verdes?
Rojas, just regular cheese red enchiladas.
Those are my favorite.
Classic.
Yeah, and you're right. Home cooking is the best. But yes, please send Alejandra your recommendations for restaurants. We have a lot of business owners and restaurant owners along in our group, and hey, invite her to come and visit you and try out your food. We definitely have a lot of really neat places, and like you said, there's the authentic. There's a place in El Reno that I always hear about that has really good tacos, and it's like you hear about all these different things, but everyone has their likes and flavors. So hey, send it our way. uh, Somebody said la oaxaqueña, and of course Alejandra can cook. Yes, she can.
Yeah, it took me a while. I mean, I must admit, when I first moved out of my parents' house, I was not eating good. It was not good. But after I got married, I kind of learned a little bit. Still had to call my mom and ask her, how do I make this chile? how do I do this again? And I still call her.
So when we get through a little bit more of a COVID-friendly experience, we'll have to do a happy hour and then do lunch. Usually, so what we started doing as a group before COVID is we would just go do lunch. And so we'd randomly tell everybody we're at this restaurant, everybody come out for lunch and grab something. And it started creating that community feeling of, people within the group, a few new ones to Oklahoma and a few that just hadn't come out to meet. So we'll try that again a little after COVID, so we can, introduce you to some more people. But for now, we'll do it virtually.
Yeah.
And even in the group, what we've been doing is also supporting local businesses through COVID and just highlighting a few here and there that are local, that are either Latino owned or in some way, just trying to reach out and make the best of this experience as best as we can. And, some of us in our businesses, we may be able to order for the office or, individually, of course, but, it's always great to see what we have going on. So now you're getting a lot of recommendations here.
Yeah.
So La Tropicana.
We have last weekend, I checked out a place called La Birreria in Bethany. Is it Bethany? I think.
Birreria Diaz.
Yes.
Yeah. It's right across my my alma mater, SNU.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people talk about that recently, so that's exciting. So again, guys, if you have any recommendations, just send them her way. And where can they find you? If somebody wants to contact you, I know you're on Facebook, but you're also on Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah. So my Facebook is actually, I think you can just search KOCO Alejandra, or Alejandra Briones KOCO. And then my Twitter is it's at KOCO Alejandra. That's my Twitter. Facebook, you can just put in my name, Alejandra Briones KOCO. And then if you want to follow me on Instagram, sorry, I have a different phone here.
We got to make sure we cover it all, guys. Social media is very important.
On Instagram, you can also follow me there. It's just Alejandra_KOCO, and put my name with KOCO on anything, and I'm sure that you'll be able to find it.
Perfect. So we have another question. How can we make you feel more at home?
Well, that's very kind. Actually, I think everything has been great so far. I always tell people when they ask me how we've been liking it, and I describe OKC a little bit kind of like, it kind of gives me an El Paso vibe just because of the friendliness of the people, but it's just bigger. It's just a bigger city, more things to do. And so I feel like we felt pretty at home very quickly. It's been an easy transition.
Well, that's good to hear. There's a lot of people that do tend to refer to Oklahoma City as being very small, but I think the people are what make Oklahoma City so unique, so special. And when I'm traveling, I always hear Oklahoma is so welcoming. So that's probably what you're hopefully feeling from many of these. We're getting a lot of welcome. So we appreciate all of you guys welcoming Alejandra to Oklahoma City. We appreciate the work you're doing at KOCO, of course. There's a lot of stories that we hear, and just connecting us to those resources. And I'm sure that many more that would like to be in your career are gonna look at what you're doing and see it as, I can do it. So, there's a lot more younger generation coming along that I'm pretty sure are going to follow your footsteps. So we're excited to see more of that. And so I kind of want to go back and just see if there's anything that you would like to leave with the group as we wrap up today.
I mean, I guess it will, definitely very thankful for everyone being so welcoming. I have experienced nothing but warmth from, everyone here right now. And then since we got here and I started working at the station, everybody has been just so nice and has made it so easy. And, I just want to say that I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be able to represent our community. If you ever feel like there's something that is maybe that you think is being ignored or it's not being given the attention that it needs, you can always reach out to me, and I can promise you that I will try my best to do what I can for our community. And just I'm just excited to be here and be a part of OKC and be a part of Oklahoma. And as soon as COVID is over, I'm sure that I'll have more opportunities to get out and report and actually meet some more people and tell those stories. Right now it's a little difficult. We're also doing a lot of things over Zoom, and you kind of lose that personal touch a little bit. But I want to try my hardest to be able to represent the Latinx, the Hispanic community in the best way possible. And yeah, so just thank you guys.
Well, I think everyone really appreciates that. There's some recommending a Cuban restaurant in Tulsa, Mango's Cafe. And then on behalf of the Puerto Rican Foundation, they want to give you a welcome to Oklahoma City. There's a large community of our Puerto Rican friends here. So I love seeing the diversity that we have. And so this is a great way to connect. So again, thank you for taking the time to meet everyone, to get to know everyone, to open those doors of just connecting with you is so important, and we really appreciate your time. So again, guys, after this, we will be able to have a link where you can share this to your groups, to all your organizations, and we will share that with you a little shortly after this. Again, thank you, Alejandra, for joining us today. I hope you got to know her a little bit better today, and just get a little insight of who she is. And you guys can reach out. We will add those places of where you can find her in the comments, so you can follow her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and be connected. So if you have any important stories, we can make sure she learns about those. But again, thank you for watching, everyone. And again, thank you, Alejandra, for your time. And we hope to see you around soon.
Yes.
When can they catch you again on air?
So Monday through Friday from 4:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. or 9 a.m. to 10. And I'll actually be working this weekend too. So if you guys get up early on the weekend, you tune in also from 5 to 7 and 8 to 9. But yeah, so we're early. So when you're up getting ready for work, make sure you guys are watching us.
All right. All those early birds, catch her in the morning. If not, you got the evening opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you again, guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye.